The world loves noise. Everywhere you look, someone's shouting about success. The cars, the houses, the 10-figure mornings. It's easy to think that wealth has to be loud, that you have to announce every win, post every milestone, prove every point. But what if I told you the real rich ones don't move like that? The real rich, the ones who stay rich in money and in peace, they move differently. You don't see them arguing online, you don't see them bragging, you barely notice them at all. Until one day, you realize they've built something unstoppable. That's the kind of wealth this video is about. Not the kind that shouts, the kind that builds itself quietly. So if you've been working in silence, if you've been improving yourself with no applause, this might be the confirmation you needed. Because if you do these 10 things, you're quietly getting rich. There's a kind of wealth the world doesn't talk about. It doesn't sparkle under the lights of luxury cars or flash on Instagram feeds. It moves quietly, almost invisibly, building piece by piece, habit by habit. The kind of wealth that doesn't need to be announced because it's already being lived. If you're doing these 10 things, you may not even realize it yet, but you're quietly getting rich. It begins with something subtle. You've stopped chasing noise. Once, you might have felt pulled by the endless current of distraction, scrolling through highlight reels, comparing your every move to people who seem years ahead. But somewhere along the line, you stopped. You stopped measuring your days by what they looked like and started measuring them by what they meant. You don't need to prove anything anymore. You'd rather be peaceful than impressive. That peace, that stillness, that's your first sign of wealth. Because true wealth is never loud. It doesn't scream for attention. It just builds, quietly, while everyone else is too busy chasing validation. Then there's your relationship with time. That's number 2. You stop treating it like something endless. You know now that time is the only currency that doesn't come back. You protect your mornings. You respect your evenings. You no longer say, "I'll start next week." You understand that later is just another name for never. You move with quiet urgency, not panic, but purpose, because you've seen what happens to people who waste their years waiting for the perfect moment. You know the perfect moment never arrives. You make it by moving. And that shift from waiting to working is what sets the rich apart from the rest. The third one is rare. You've made peace with boredom. We live in a world addicted to stimulation. New trends, new updates, new dopamine hits. But you can sit in silence and focus. You don't need entertainment every minute. You've learned that boredom is where mastery begins. When others chase excitement, you chase consistency. You understand that growth often looks dull. Repetition looks boring until it turns into results. Quiet wealth is built in those unseen hours, when nobody's watching and nothing seems to be happening. That's where discipline lives. That's where winners are made. The fourth one is practical. You pay attention to your money, even when it's small. You track it. You know where it goes. You don't turn away from your numbers even when they're uncomfortable. You stopped treating money like a mystery and started treating it like a mirror. You learn that money flows toward order and runs from chaos. So you budget, you plan, you set aside. You don't need to impress anyone with what you spend because you're too focused on what you're building. And that quiet awareness, the discipline of watching, adjusting, refining, that's what separates the financially free from the financially lost. Then there's the fifth thing. You think long term. You don't expect results in a week anymore. You've learned to zoom out. You've seen that compounding in wealth, in skills, in health takes time. You plant seeds knowing you won't see fruit tomorrow. You invest in relationships that may take years to blossom. You read books that might not pay off immediately because you understand that the return on wisdom is infinite. While others chase the next quick win, you play the infinite game, the one that rewards patience, not impatience. And that mindset is how quiet wealth grows, slowly, steadily, like a tree that outlasts every storm. The sixth sign is invisible but powerful. You invest in your mind more than your image. You stop needing to look successful. You'd rather be successful. You spend more time learning than showing off. You buy knowledge instead of status. You trade temporary pleasure for permanent growth. When most people ask, "How do I look?" you ask, "What can I learn?" That shift from surface to substance is the foundation of lasting wealth. Because you can lose money and get it back, but once your mind expands, it never goes back to its old size. Seventh, you've started protecting your circle. You've realized that energy is contagious. You don't hate anyone. You just understand that not everyone is meant to sit at your table. You've noticed how being around small minds makes your dreams shrink, and how being around hungry, grounded people makes your standards rise. Quiet wealth comes from choosing peace over drama, clarity over chaos, and truth over popularity. The people in your life either help you build or help you waste, and you've started choosing builders. You've learned that proximity is power, and your environment is your silent business partner. The eighth thing is often invisible. You're consistent even when nobody's watching. That's the quiet grind nobody sees. You show up on the days you don't feel like it. You stick to routines that don't give instant results. While others chase motivation, you've built discipline. You understand that consistency compounds. It's not sexy, it's not glamorous. It's just small, steady action stacked over time. That's how real wealth is built. Not in explosive bursts of effort, but in quiet, relentless repetition. The ninth one is subtle but deep. You've stopped needing to prove yourself. You don't flex anymore. You don't explain yourself to people who don't get it. You've outgrown the urge to be seen. You don't care if someone underestimates you. In fact, you prefer it, because you've learned that validation is a distraction. You'd rather stay low, work quietly, and let results speak in their own time. There's a peace that comes when you stop performing and start becoming. When you no longer need to show off, you're already rich, because you've gained something most people never find: contentment. And the 10th, you live in gratitude. You don't postpone happiness anymore. You don't say, "I'll be grateful when I make it." You've learned to be grateful while you make it. You find joy in the process, in the small wins, in the simple days. You thank God for what you have while you work for what's next. And that gratitude, that quiet thankfulness, opens the door for more blessings. Because when you stop complaining, you start creating. When you stop focusing on what's missing, you start seeing what's multiplying. See, real wealth isn't just about numbers. It's about control. Control over your time, your choices, your emotions. The ability to say no without guilt and yes without fear. The power to live by your own clock, not someone else's expectations. That's what quiet wealth is. The slow, steady building of a life that feels light. You don't need to escape your life anymore. You've built one that doesn't require running from. That's freedom. That's success. And maybe you don't feel rich yet. Maybe you still wake up tired some mornings, wondering if it's all worth it. But here's the truth. If you're doing these things, if you're building these habits, if you're moving with this kind of intention, you're already rich in the ways that matter most. The money will catch up. It always does. Quiet wealth doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need to. It's written in your habits, your calmness, your growth. It's in the way you handle setbacks, the way you bounce back without making noise. You don't chase wealth anymore, you attract it because of who you're becoming. And one day, without realizing when it happened, you'll look around and everything will be different. Your life will be stable. Your heart will be peaceful. You'll have options, not because you got lucky, but because you stayed consistent. You'll smile quietly, remembering the days when it was just you grinding in silence, believing it would all be worth it. And it was. Because that's how real wealth works. Slowly, quietly, faithfully. It doesn't shout. It doesn't rush. It just builds while the world is distracted. So if you're watching this and thinking, maybe that's me, maybe you're already walking that quiet path, then keep going. Don't break the rhythm. Don't let noise pull you off your lane. Stay patient, stay humble, stay consistent. You're not just getting rich. You're becoming the kind of person who doesn't need to chase anything, because everything good is already finding its way to you. That's the beauty of quiet wealth. It's not about having more. It's about needing less and being at peace with where you are while working for what's next. That's when you know you're quietly getting rich.